The Inquisition cannot remain, Ambassador, if you can't prove it was founded on Justinia's orders.
This is an inopportune time, Marquis. More of the faithful flock here each day. But allow me to introduce you to the brave soul who risked her life to slow the magic of the breach. Mistress Lavelan, this is the Marquis d'Aurelion, one of Divine Justinia's greatest supporters.
And the rightful owner of Haven. House d'Aurelion lent Justinia these lands for pilgrimage. This Inquisition is not a beneficiary of this arrangement.
This is the first I've heard of Haven having an owner outside the Chantry.
My wife, Lady Machin of Denner, has claimed to Haven by ancient treaty with the monarchs of Herald. We were honored to lend its use to Divine Justinia. She was a woman of supreme merit. I will not let an upstart order remain on her holy grounds.
People have been injured. You can't just turn them out onto the snow.
And who benefits if they stay?
Divine Justinia, Marquis. The Inquisition, not the Chantry, is sheltering the pilgrims who mourn her.
Why is the Chantry ignoring the faithful?
Because it remains in shock. We face a dark time, Your Grace. Divine Justinia would not want her passing to divide us. She would, in fact, trust us to forge new alliances to the benefit of all, no matter how strange they might seem.
I'll think on it, Lady Montilyet. The Inquisition might stay in the meanwhile.
Do the d'Aurelions actually have a claim on this place?
His Grace's position is not so strong as he presents it. Despite their Ferelden relations, the d'Aurelions are Orlesian. If the Marquis wishes to claim Haven, Empress Selene must negotiate with the Ferelden on his behalf. Her current concerns are a bit larger than minor property disputes.
I'm so pleased the Marquis isn't tossing us out into the cold.
His Grace is only the first of many dignitaries we must contend with.
You expect more people in Haven?
Undoubtedly. And each visitor will spread the story of the Inquisition after they depart. An ambassador should ensure the tale is as complimentary as possible.
May I ask, what brought you to work for the Inquisition?
Sister Leliana approached me. We've been acquainted for quite some time. For better or worse, being the Inquisition's diplomat has become as interesting as she promised.
What sort of dealings have you had with nobility?
For some years, I was the royally appointed court ambassador from Antiva to Orlais. The nobility of Thedas is a rather singular sphere. Those I'm not acquainted with, I know through reputation.
The Inquisition is lucky to have you as an advocate, Lady Montilyet.
Thank you. Let us hope so. Thedas' politics have become agitated as of late. I hope to guide us down smoother paths. But please excuse me. I've much work to do before the day is done. Good day to you.
How do you and Leliana know each other?
We moved through similar circles in Orlais. I believe we actually met in Val Royaux. Leliana was quite an accomplished player of the game by then.
What exactly do you mean when you say the game?
Forgive me. The game refers to the slow duels of influence among the noble and powerful of Orlais. It's a rather light-hearted name for the matter, but Orlesians are fond of playful touches.
What business are the Montilyets in exactly?
We began as merchants. My ancestors founded the first trade routes to Rivain. We once sent entire fleets across the Waking Sea.
But not anymore.
No. These days, our vessels are a touch more modest.
What did you do before coming here?
I had the great honor of serving Antiva's crown as ambassador to Orlais. I'm also first in line to become the head of House Montilyet, though my siblings attend to our mercantile affairs.
How strong are your past loyalties?
I would never have given up my position if I did not intend to fully commit to the Inquisition. We cannot fall back on borders. Antiva is as threatened as any country by the rebellions. If anything, the alliances I forged there may help our current cause.
Do you think the Inquisition will continue after we seal the breach?
If we prove ourselves by healing the breach, people may turn to us for other things. Protection, counsel, justice. The Inquisition offered these once to those in need.
Tell me, do you believe I was saved by Andraste at the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I should much like to believe so, Your Worship. The miracles Andraste performed were so long ago, they're difficult to picture. If it were truly her and the Fate who saved you... Well, in any case, many already believe you walk in the Maker's light.
What exactly does your job entail?
I meet with ambassadors from various factions and countries, and cement alliances with them. We are a young cause. Diplomacy is essential to our credibility.
Then you speak for the Inquisition with these nobles?
I do. Someone must foster goodwill on our behalf, as well as prevent controversy as news of us spreads.
How heavily are our actions scrutinized?
Make no mistake, every noble house, every throne is waiting to see what the Inquisition does next. Many are willing to pledge support, if offers are made in just the right fashion. I intend to see that they are.
Tell me how you came to work for the Inquisition again.
I'd been considering leaving my post in Antiva for a new challenge when Leliana recruited me. There's such unrest in Thedas, and the Inquisition seems a promising method to stop it. It's to everyone's benefit if we prevent the Mage-Templar conflict from spreading further.
So was it the prospect of stability that drew you here?
The full impact of the Mage Rebellion has yet to be felt, and that was before the death of the Divine. The violence must be curbed before we see it turn to full-scale war.
I can only imagine the bloodshed if it escalates further.
I'm afraid history holds many examples of what will happen if it does.
Let's speak later.
Another time.
I'll take my leave. Good day.
Who is she, Ambassador?
A merchant. I thought we should reach out to the dwarves to secure lyrium for the Inquisition's mages. According to Lady Corpin, it raised the ire of the Chantry.
How?
Access to lyrium makes us rather more formidable than I anticipated. We're becoming a challenge. Sadly, the remaining Grand Clerics appear to be consolidating the Chantry's power, instead of comforting the masses.
The Chantry should be a place of hope, not another group scrambling for answers.
That must be its strength again. The Chant did much to bridge nations. Little but the Chantry ties Orlais, Nevarra, Ferelden, Antiva, and even Rivain to a common cause.
Has the Chantry truly promoted such peace?
Andraste's chant is familiar across kingdoms, a source of many shared customs. That is the crucial point. Common ground is the start of all negotiations.
So if everyone listens to the chant, things will be smooth as silk.
I did say commonality is merely a beginning, but it's an important one. We must learn to think beyond our own wants to secure peace in Thedas.
How did someone so lovely and selfless go into Orlesian politics, Lady Montelier?
Well, that is, really, you give me too much credit. While you're here, I do have a question. The remaining Grand Clerics sent a missive inquiring about the events at the Temple of Sacred Ashes. They demand to know whether the Inquisition officially claims that Andraste saved you from the breach. If it were up to you, how would you reply?
Will my answer change your reply to the Chantry?
If Leliana, Cassandra Cullen, and I could agree on our official stance, I could answer that. We should decide soon. The revered mothers don't seem to know what to make of you.
I'd tell the Chantry that Andraste herself shielded me from harm.
I'd truly like to hear the debates that would raise in Val Royeaux. Thank you for your thoughts. A good day to you.
Did you need something, Ambassador?
Yes. Well, not precisely, but I should like to know if anyone here has treated you unkindly, Herald, for being an elf.
If they have, they've been stealthy.
Good. Please let me know if that changes. If we're to convince the world that Andraste's Herald is an elf, the Inquisition must give you its utmost support. Stories of wild Dalish elves have grown even more outrageous as people learn of you.
How have the rumors gotten worse?
I would prefer not to repeat them.
Give me something.
Stealing children, selling peasants to slavers, burning down villages, using infants for blood magic. Those are the stories about your fellow Dalish. I won't repeat what they've said about you.
Isn't the magic just as much a problem as my ears?
It depends which way the wind is blowing. Magic is meant to serve man, the chant teaches. Close the breach, and we can claim that is why Andraste chose you. Hopefully it will be enough to replace this gossip about the Dalish.
Why not claim the Dalish can steal your breath or turn into dragons while they're at it? Now that I've said that out loud, someone probably has.
Very likely. I will see what the Inquisition can do to contain the slander. It may help if I know more about how you and your clan lived.
We were at the mercy of everything. Foul weather, disease, village mobs. I always wanted more from life.
You found it. In a spectacular fashion, I might add. Still, you must miss your clan.
I was a solitary child. I spent much of my time alone. The Dalish won't weep for me, if they even notice I'm gone.
Believe me, they'll have noticed. Whether you're with them or not, being the clan of the Herald of Andraste will mark them in history.
The Dalish still worship the gods of our ancestors. When they hear me called the Herald of Andraste, it may stir up anger.
They must see that you move in different circles now. The moment of understanding can be painful. I've made some inquiries into the Imperial Court. The sooner we deal with the threats to the Empress, the better. The political situation in the Empire is dangerously unstable. It will complicate matters.
Everything in the Empire complicates matters. It's the Orlesian national pastime.
Turn your nose up at the grand game if you like, Commander, but we play for the highest stakes, and to the death.
The Court's disapproval can be as great a threat as the Venatori. We must be vigilant to avert disaster.
Exactly what do you mean? How is it more dangerous than usual?
The Empress is in the middle of a civil war. Her cousin, Grand Duke Gaspard, seeks to take her throne by force. Leliana reports that a group of elves has been sabotaging both armies, drawing out the hostilities. Orlais holds Tevinter at bay. All of Thedas could be lost if the Empire falls to Corypheus. Celine is holding peace talks under the auspices of a grand masquerade. Every power in Orlais will be there. It's the perfect place for an assassin to hide.
A grand masquerade? I need to go shopping.
I'll arrange for an invitation at your discretion, Inquisitor. Inquisitor, I was just inspecting our new headquarters. Foundation cracks, nesting animals, and miles from any centers of civilization. The staff must make it presentable if we're to receive any visitors of distinction.
It certainly wouldn't do for the Inquisition to appear overly shabby.
We've only just now convinced everyone we are precisely what Thedas requires. The mages will be gauging the Inquisition's fortitude. They should feel safe here.
Do you not feel safe here?
I've had difficulty forgetting Corypheus's attack on Haven. Do you know who first leapt to arms? Our workers. They were so proud of our cause. Corypheus simply cut them down. So much screaming after that first blast of fire. So many people turned to ash.
We lost far too many good people to that monster.
I'm sure they'll find rest with the Maker. Well, before I return to my duties, allow me to congratulate you on your appointment as Inquisitor, my lady. I will now bring diplomatic issues to your attention, and I'm more than happy to help with any situations that arise.
I'm loath to part from such pleasant company. Would you care to walk the castle with me?
Oh, well, a tour then? Let me fetch the steward.
That isn't precisely what I was hoping for.
Well, do let me know if you change your mind. Now I must find someone to prepare the guest quarters. Inquisitor, is it true? Is the mark on your hand magic cast by Corypheus?
Corypheus claimed it's a spell gone wrong.
I wanted to think it was a blessing. A sign the Maker was returning to his creation. How credulous of me.
Perhaps the Maker set these events in motion so long ago we can no longer see his hand in them.
It would be fitting if that were true. Does it hurt? The anchor, that is.
It's not pain. It's more like my nerves go on fire.
It sounds most unpleasant. A situation requires your attention, Inquisitor. Noble Chantry loyalists in the city of Jadar are spreading accusations that you're responsible for the Divine's death. They're unusually organized. I recommend we send people to Jadar to deal with the matter.
Will anyone even believe me if I claim I didn't kill the Divine?
Perhaps if they learn about your heroics. We should emphasize how you stopped the breach devouring the sky. Even in Jadar, it may win you a few admirers.
What does the nobility gain by saying I murdered Justinia?
A scapegoat to begin with, but I wonder if the Grand Clerics are at work. Those immediately eligible to be divine died at the Conclave. The ones remaining were not as favored. They may look upon you as a rival for influence.
Sending soldiers to patrol the area might make people think twice about slandering me.
A daring move, but one that will show the world we have military might behind us. And what else did Lady Forsythia say?
That she'd rather drown herself than help the Inquisition.
Anything else?
She said she'd have us flogged alive if we allied with her brother.
That does sound like her.
Cheer up, Josie. We at least have her attention.
You always do find the brighter side of things. We are in the midst of cementing an alliance with Lady Forsythia of Nevarra, your worship. It's become a somewhat delicate task.
Can I do anything to help negotiations?
Thank you, but I believe I have matters in hand. I dissuaded her from sending soldiers when she learned we'd struck an accord with a brother she's feuding with. Lady Forsythia simply employs a colorful manner of speech.
You're rather good-natured about threats of death and dismemberment.
They are chiefly bluster, Inquisitor. Most of them. But I confess I do miss my staff from the embassy in Antiva. It was always useful to discuss the day's visitors with them.
I have time if you'd like to review things with me.
I wouldn't wish to impose.
If it were imposing, I wouldn't have offered.
Well, I admit there are a few potential alliances it would be good to discuss. Right on the parlor floor, in front of everyone at the soiree. Who does such a thing in front of their guests?
The Duke of Kellington, apparently.
And then there's Cole's lurking. It frightens our guests half to death. Lord Gennard still won't respond to our letters. And Sarah, can she not find a single overshirt without mustard stains on it? Then there's Dorian. The man refuses to take anything seriously unless it suits its whim. Not to mention... Oh goodness. Have we been here an hour already?
It went by so quickly, I didn't even notice.
You're far too polite. I didn't intend to go on for so long. You must think me quite the gossip.
You've been working continually since I met you, Josephine.
And that can't stop. I must be going. But I leave feeling less troubled than I have in weeks.
Tell me about the Montiliers.
Well, my parents are alive and in good health. They live in our estate in Antiva City. Of my 4 siblings, most attend to the running of the family vineyards. That reminds me, I must ask someone to make sure Yvette attends the spring reception at the palace. My youngest sister has no head for social engagements.
Why are you overseeing your siblings' social lives?
It's Antivan custom. After a certain age, the heir apparent runs the family's estate to prove they're worthy of succession. If you're unfit for the task, the heads of the house, usually one's parents, may decree a new heir.
What do these Antivan heads of their households do, if they don't run it?
They work and provide guidance. I've taken advice from my parents. Well, mostly mother. Father's more of an artist. It's rather gauche, but we never can dissuade him from running his own salons. Between him and my siblings, mother's looking forward to my taking over the estate.
Between that and the Inquisition, when do you ever rest?
Delegation helps a great deal. But managing the estate is my duty. As much work as it is, I will not shirk it.
Is running your family's estate that important to you?
I'm responsible for their welfare. A Montilier never shuns their familial duty. Taxing as those duties can sometimes be.
Maybe your siblings could help lighten your burden.
You don't know them. Put Lorien in charge, or Antoine, or Yvette? No, truly. It must be me.
Where were you raised, Josephine?
I was born in Antiva City, but when I turned 15, Mother declared I'd attend finishing school in Val Royeaux. But I bowled into her skirts the day I had to leave.
You must have missed her terribly.
I did, and she was most unsympathetic to my wailing. But my mother only wanted the best for me. Living in Orlais was an education in itself.
What did you learn at this finishing school in Val Royeaux?
Among other things, mathematics, rhetoric, poetry, history, logic, and a great deal of etiquette. I still remember Madame Veventir's switch on my knuckles when I forgot the basic tenets of Nevaran dining customs. For a dowager approaching her 80th year, she had quite the arm.
How did the younger you like Val Royeaux when you arrived?
Have you ever stepped into a new city and felt the buildings couldn't possibly be real? That was Val Royeaux to me. So beautifully foreign, I gaped at its spires for months.
Does Antiva City have nothing that compares to Val Royeaux?
Antiva City is a jewel among the capitals. But I did not appreciate that before I traveled. There are multitudes of places I'd like to see. Seheran, the Anderfells, whatever lies past the Amarantine Ocean.
Who rules Antiva?
Officially, the Principality of Antiva is governed by His Majesty King Fugelno II. In reality, Antiva's merchant princes rule the country in everything but name. Quite loudly, I might add.
What sort of dealings did you have with these merchant families?
As ambassador, I attended Privy Council meetings in a mediatory capacity. May I just say, one has never heard an argument until they've sat in on 15 princes howling down each other's tariff suggestions.
That sounds more like a mob than a meeting.
It's all a part of life in Antiva. Our traditions value passion and romance. A certain exuberance of style.
Are you positive you're Antivan?
I can be most exuberant when it's called for. Just At the right moments, and in a proper fashion. Might we speak of something else?
What's the land like in Antiva?
The settled areas are quite lush. The vineyards run as far as the eye can see in some places. Antiva City, however, perches right up against the Rialto Bay. That's what I miss most. The sea crashing against the maze of the docks.
I have difficulty seeing you wandering around a trading port.
Everyone in Antiva City spends time by the ships, my lady. The finest restaurants and poets all make their habitation by the sea. The waterfronts never still. Lanterns are lit along the promenade no matter what the weather.
Are you ever homesick?
Occasionally. When a breeze stirs the trees in the garden, I sometimes pretend it's the sound of the surf. Do you know, I even miss those terrible squawking birds infesting the harbor. My youngest sister used to throw whole loaves of bread to the gulls. Silly thing.
You said the Montiliers used to run an entire trading fleet. What happened?
There was a scandal in Val Royaux more than an age ago. The Montiliers were forbidden from trading with Orlais. Our personal fortunes never quite rebounded.
Does anyone in Orlais even remember what that scandal was?
I doubt it, but the injunction persists.
What exactly happened?
An affair with a minor lord. Perhaps. Most other details are lost.
Are you saying your family's livelihood was ruined because of a love affair no one even remembers?
Essentially, Orlesian politics are full of these unhappy little missteps, Inquisitor.
You haven't really gone into detail about how you know Leliana.
We met... let me think. We met the last few years of my schooling, but we became friends after I became ambassador to Orlais. It seems terrifyingly long ago now.
How exactly did you and Leliana reconnect in the Inquisition?
I discovered my family had been overcharging a merchant we traded with for months. Our name carries a great deal of trust in Antiva. I spent weeks arranging a string of favors as suitable recompense. Apparently satisfied, the merchant extended me an invitation to her estate. Leliana greeted me in place of the merchant.
I assume there was more to it than a strange way to say hello.
It was a test of sorts. Leliana claimed she needed someone of painful integrity for the Inquisition. I accepted, once she finally explained what it was.
Do you remain close?
Yes, but she's grown so much more distant than the outgoing woman I met in Val Royaux. Leliana used to wander the Orlesian courts, singing the sweetest songs, charming the greatest wits. Now she collects secrets and takes risks that would make empires tremble. I worry, but she will not hear it.
Does Leliana confide in you?
She enjoys revisiting our more disastrous adventures. Leliana used to concoct the most ridiculous plans. Run if you ever see her with a twine ball, a measuring stick, and a handkerchief. Inquisitor, I must speak with you.
What is it?
I must explain something first about the Montiliers' fortunes.
I remember you said your family had been forbidden from trading in Orlais.
It's devastated our finances. The Montiliers have, in fact, been in debt for over 100 years.
I had no idea your family's situation was so precarious.
Hardly anyone outside the family does. For generations, we've done everything to keep creditors at bay. Sold our lands to stave off interest. It is infuriating to see my family still reduced to this. I'm to become head of our house. If I sell any more of our land, my family will become destitute. That cannot be my legacy to them.
Most people worry about their next meal, never mind an estate.
I'm not blind, but I worry for my family. My foolish sister Yvette with her daydreams, my brothers trying to rebuild our fleet with their own hands. Is it wrong to hope they never know hardship?
So you're going to torture yourself over your ancestors' mistakes?
No, but I'd made such progress. I negotiated a chance to reinstate the Montiliers as landed traders in Orlais. We could rebuild with that. But when I dispatched paperwork to Val Royeaux, I've just learned my carriers were murdered, and the documents restoring my family's trading status destroyed.
Who hates the Montiliers enough to do that?
Leliana made inquiries that bore success. Comte Boisvert, a nobleman in Val Royeaux, claims to know who killed my messengers. He has a request that you come when I meet him, so he's seen publicly conferring with you.
What will being seen with me gain the Comte?
The Comte will drop hints at parties he's to meet with an important visitor. Allies and rivals will take note. Once he's met you, there will be speculation. The Comte will subtly spin reports to his advantage. He will use us. But if he knows who killed my people, I ask that we indulge him.
I hope the Comte isn't making up information just to be seen with me.
I will take full responsibility if that's the case, Inquisitor. I must know who killed my couriers just to harm my family.
Do you know where this noble wanted to meet us?
I do. The Comte Boisvert invited us to his mansion, not far from here. I pray he clears up the deaths of my messengers, as promised.
Lead the way.
Welcome, my friend.
Thank you for seeing us, Comte Boisvert.
The honor is mine. Please, sit. It's an honor to assist two such distinguished guests.
Please, tell us what you know.
Straight to business, then. After the murder of Lady Montile's people, I don't suppose I can blame you. Have you heard of the House of Repose?
The Assassin's League?
My contacts obtained a copy of a document in the archives. Contract for life.
The House of Repose is hereby sworn to eliminate anyone attempting to overturn the Montiliers' trading exile in Orlais.
Overly complicated assassination plots are part of Orlesian politics, I take it.
They're all too common, I'm afraid.
The contract was signed by a noble family. The Du Paraquets.
But the Du Paraquets died out as a noble line over 60 years ago.
Indeed. But the contract was signed 109 years ago.
How can a family try to kill you after they died out?
The Du Paraquets were our rivals. They drove the Montiliers from Val Royeaux. This contract was drawn up over 100 years ago, but it wasn't invoked until I tried to overturn my family's exile.
Unpleasant though it may be, the House of Repose is merely fulfilling its contractual duties.
If the people who wanted your family dead are gone, why are the assassins still after you?
A contract is a contract, Inquisitor. Orlesian businesses live and die by their reputations. The entire guild's welfare would be endangered if an agreement was tossed aside on a whim of time or fate.
She's quite right, Your Worship. The House of Repose is doing what it feels necessary, by its standards.
I assume you have a thought or two on this, Josephine?
The Du Paraquets still have descendants under the common branch. If we elevate them to nobility, a Du Paraquet could annul the contract on my life.
That will take time, Lady Montilier. Time during which the House of Repose will be obliged to hunt you.
Will they now? You are exceedingly well informed. You're not to have said you'd heard rumors, at best.
A bit of subterfuge. This contract on your life is an ugly business. One the House of Repose deeply regrets. But this is Orlais. Even an assassin's word is his bond.
Does Comte Boisvert actually exist?
Absolutely. The Comte's offer to reveal the killers of Lady Montile's messengers was genuine. So was his information somehow. An end to be tied up later.
I'm guessing the actual Comte Boisvert met with a fatal accident.
Comte Boisvert slumbers in a nearby closet. Nothing more. The contract on Lady Montilet's life is so unusual, we felt the courtesy of an explanation was in order.
It is appreciated, monsieur.
Your idea to seek out the Duparequet to revoke our orders is an interesting one. I wish you luck. I did not come to shed blood today, Inquisitor. Only to speak. Might I pass?
Why warn us about your contract and let us go?
In Orlais, it is only decent to inform those involved in a contract when extraordinary circumstances conspire.
And the guild's reputation would suffer if you ignored the contract. I quite understand.
Thank you, my lady. May we conclude with my departure?
Go then.
Good day, your worship. My lady, I pray we never meet again.
Well, I didn't think our meeting would end like this.
We'll deal with these assassins.
I have some thoughts. Let's discuss them back at Skyhold. I'll feel safer with the castle's walls around me.
Do you hear something?
Oh, goodness. Comte Poivert, is that you? Oh, the lock's been broken off. We'll find a saw. I realize the cabinet is quite valuable, Comte, but surely... A locksmith, then? As you wish. I'm so sorry, Inquisitor. I never thought my family's trading status would trap us in an assassin's plot.
Between our soldiers and spies, Skyhold's safer than anywhere else in Thedas.
Yet the problem persists. I've tracked down the last Duparequets. If they become gentry, they can annul the contract on my life. We'll require a noble from Val Royeaux to sponsor them, a judge to provide documents, a minister to ratify them.
It's so like you to take the longest course of action, even when your life is at stake.
I assume you already know everything about this mess.
There is a faster way, Josephine. The original contract on your life is in the vaults of the House of Repose. If my agents infiltrate it and destroy the original, the assassin will have no obligation to chase you.
Liliana, please. I want no more bloodshed over a personal affair.
Don't be so stubborn, Josie. How long will it take you to gather these favors in Val Royeaux?
Give me some time to think this over.
I'll post a watch on our ambassador in case the House of Repose visits.
I appreciate it, but I still believe elevating the Duparequets will solve this. First, we need to perform some favors in Val Royeaux. I'd be happy to discuss where we could begin.
I read Liliana's report. Her people infiltrated the League of Assassins targeting you. The contract on your life has been destroyed. You should be safe now.
And thus we outwit the House of Repose.
Should we have waited for an assassin to sneak through instead?
I've no doubt that the guild was staffed by vicious men and women, Inquisitor. It's simply... Did I ever mention I used to be a bard?
You were a singer?
Bards entertain the Orlesian court. They sing, play music, make charming conversation, and spy. Many young nobles put on a mask and practice playing the game in such a fashion.
What made you interested in becoming a bard?
I was attending a university in Val Royeaux when I learned about bards. There was such an air of romance about them. Stories of secrets, trysts, and fascinating people. A group of us, young gentry from Antiva, decided this exciting life was for us.
I don't imagine many firstborn heirs join those ranks.
No. I was a rather foolish exception. During one particular intrigue, I encountered a bard sent to kill my patron. We fought. Or perhaps scrapped is the better word. Both of us terrified. We were at the top of a steep flight of stairs. The other bard threw a knife, and I pushed him away from me. You can imagine the result.
You were only defending yourself.
But it was such a waste, Inquisitor. When I took off his mask, I knew him. We'd attended parties together. If I'd stopped to reason, if I'd used my voice instead of scuffling like a common thug, I'll always wonder who that young man would have grown into.
He seemed willing enough to murder you for the game.
Perhaps. I feel I'm the last to judge whether or not he would have actually used the blade. In all the commotion... forgive me, I don't believe I ever thanked you for helping me with this.
You were taking on a league of professional assassins. I suppose I'll forgive it.
You've done much to help House Montilier. And should you ever visit Antiva, stories of the welcome we'll give you will be told for years.
Josephine! Oh, Josephine! Is this her?
Inquisitor, please allow me to present to you my younger sister, Yvette Gabriella Montilier.
There can never be too many Lady Montiliers in Thedas, can there?
Inquisitor, I've heard so much about you, but not as much as I want. Josephine writes, but she never tells me anything. Is it true? Rebel mages in Redcliffe were performing blood rites and orgies before you stopped them.
Where did you hear such nonsense?
Everyone in Antiva says so. Is it true?
Of course, every word. Especially the parts where everyone was nude.
I knew it.
Which power should the Inquisition throw its weight behind?
Celine has held the throne successfully for years. I see no profit in ousting her. Gaspard has run military campaigns, but never a kingdom. His transition would be, let us say, chaotic.
Tell me about yourself, Lady Yvette. This is the first time I've encountered any of Josephine's family.
She would forget to mention the artists. I've been studying painting under Antiva's royal tutors. You should be proud, Josie. I'm going to be exhibiting my work next season in the city's biggest salon.
Have you actually sat down and finished the painting yet?
I must wait for my inspiration.
And I must wait for your tutor's bills.
Enjoying the ball?
I see many of...
The dancing is so dull, Your Worship, but the Empress's gallery is magnificent.
Yvette...
Sorry, Josie.
Go on, Josephine.
Half Royal must be empty. So many of the Empire's finest are in attendance. They've noticed the Empress paying you special attention, but they don't quite know how to take advantage of it yet. This uncertainty won't last long, I'm afraid.
This may be my only chance to hear about when Josephine was a girl.
Oh, yes. As she told you about when she was 10 and...
Yvette, stop.
Fine. What about when we were climbing the cliffs by the...
No.
She once told the Duke of...
Absolutely not.
She still plays with her doll collection when no one's looking.
Yvette, that's absurd. Absolutely preposterous.
I'll see you later.
Another time.
And she'll move the chantry forward while quelling the fears of the faithful. And I feel only pity for those who might try to depose our former spy master by force.
Is anyone stupid enough to send assassins after her?
Any initial opposition will be subtle, but I doubt it will last. After so much warring, even the most seasoned players of the game yearn for change. Sister Leliana will bring about interesting times.